I know Michael Myers has a near monopoly over Halloween nights, but ever since 1993, Disney, yes Disney out of everyone, shook it when they released the first Hocus Pocus, a fantasy comedy film, and thereon began the journey of the witchy Sanderson Sisters, whom we last saw in 2022, crashing a birthday party on the spookiest night of the year. True to the post-credit hint, the Sanderson Sisters are ready to cast their spells on the big screen yet again, because Hocus Pocus 3 is officially in the works. So how excited are you to find out what's going on behind such a huge production? And most importantly, what exactly Hocus Pocus 3 is going to be about? Don't worry, I put on my nerdy glasses, so it's showtime!
Maxima! For me!
For my newbies here, Hocus Pocus revolves around three witch sisters from Salem, Massachusetts, who got resurrected on Halloween when a teenage boy, Max, lit the black flame candle. The Sanderson sisters came to life and wrought quite the havoc on Max, his classmate and crush Allison Watts, and his younger sister Danny. Personally, I was a fan of Hocus Pocus from the moment the sisters took the stage, and with their performance of I Put a Spell on You, enchanted the adults at a Halloween party to dance until they died. I guess Sarah Jessica Parker unknowingly auditioned for her role in Sex and the City during this because boy, does she look hot here. However, Disney messed up when they released the movie in July to align with the holiday season of school going to children, and believe it or not, the movie pretty much tanked at the box office. However, it managed to charm the loyal viewers and achieved a cult status over the years. The movie's 25th anniversary was celebrated with a bang in 2018. A special titled Hocus Pocus 25th Anniversary Halloween Bash was filmed at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, showcasing interviews with cast members such as Sarah Jessica Parker, Bette Midler, and Kathy Najimy. Even the city of Salem has embraced its association with Hocus Pocus, and various filming locations have turned into popular attractions as the movie's legacy continues to grow. In fact, Hocus Pocus made us all smile in one of the toughest times. It was one of the movies to be re-released amid the COVID pandemic in October 2020. I mean, that tells us a lot about its legacy, you know. The Sanderson sisters were brewing magic everywhere for almost 3 decades, but the sequel didn't roll out until September 2022. I remember the months, rather years, before it released, checking for new announcements, losing my mind when Sarah stated in an interview in 2016 that she would love to be in the follow-up, when Disney Plus came on board, and finally when it was confirmed in May 2021. Good God, the wait was exhausting, but the result was absolutely worth it. According to the Walt Disney Company, Hocus Pocus 2 became the most watched film premiere in the United States during its first 3 days after release. That obviously meant we were gonna get a third part. Yeah, I figured out how Hollywood franchises function by now, and by February 2023, word of a possible sequel started spreading through the grapevine. Things were even made official within months, with Sean Bailey, the president of Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture Production, confirming that the third film was in development and was being planned for a Disney Plus release. But soon, it began to look like Hocus Pocus 3 had run into a roadblock. Actors like Omri Katz started beating around the bush about reprising their roles. He said that he would return as Max Dennison only if Disney asked. We're clever enough to read in between the lines. Sometime later in June 2023, Sean Bailey revealed to New York Times that Hocus Pocus 3 is happening, and soon it was announced that Anne Fletcher would be donning the director's hat once again after her journey with Hocus Pocus 2, and the screenwriter too would carry on from the second part. That means Jen D'Angelo was tasked with writing the script, and she confirmed in October that she did start working on it. But then months went by, and there was no news. All we had were little hints from Bette Midler that the film was in development, and honestly, it felt like we were Rachel Green, anxiously waiting for that labor. But then, in 2024, Midler told people that she was really excited about what's ahead for Winifred. To quote her, "Where would I like Winifred to go, Well, I think the Hamptons. Winifred and the Hamptons. I could go there. That would be fun," she said. "I can only figure out locations. Paris, London, or the Hamptons." But things started looking bleak when Midler said in an interview on QVC's Busy this week that she had not seen a script yet, but had only heard rumblings. And you thought the boy you met a month ago was giving you mixed signals. The next year, in July 2025, Parker spilled on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen that she was not aware of any more developments, and the only silver lining was her words. "We would like to do it, and we've been having some conversations." Fast forward to October 16, 2025, Tobias Jelinek, the guy who played Jay in the original, said he'd be totally up for stepping back into his role in Part 3. Just 2 days later, on October 18, Midler popped up on Watch What Happens Live and confirmed that she had actually received a script. Oh, thank heavens. She also mentioned that discussions were going on regarding budget stuff and rewrites. And later that same month, Thora Birch, who played Danny Dennison, said she was super open to coming back for the third movie. According to Midler, the script is brilliant and added that she got very excited. And now we're trying to figure out what it is and where it's going to be and how much it's going to cost and all those logistical things. So yeah, it's actually happening. And frankly, getting Dan Fletcher back will be a treat. Back in 2022, when Hocus Pocus 2 released, executive producer Adam Shankman praised the director because she was clever enough to craft the protagonist Becca's storyline around the discovery of her magical abilities, always leaving the door open for future projects in the franchise. You know what that means, right? Apart from Hocus Pocus 3, spin-offs are also in the cards. While that seems like the cherry on the top now, it wasn't exactly the case back in 2023, because with the franchise branching out, Hocus Pocus 3's fate was already hanging by a thread. D'Angelo agreed with Shankman and Ann, and told Entertainment Weekly in October 2023 that they're working to strike a balance between what fans want and the growth of the characters. She mentioned that the third movie was in the early stages, but assured, "I want to do right by the fans, and I definitely want to keep in mind what they want to see. But at the same time, I feel like movies can go slightly awry when they're only catering to the fans and trying to check off a list, like, we got this and this, so the fans should be happy." She also said that the second movie only barely touched on Waddingham's Mother Witch character. No wonder Midler said that the early draft of the third film script was great, and Parker further confirmed in an interview with Variety in January this year that they're working on it. Where Bette Midler goes, I go. That is like a 13-year-old girl with a new bike. She's like, "I have wheels, let us travel." Now that I think about it, the planned gathering of the cast and director Kenny Ortega at 90s Con 2026 was not an ordinary reunion announcement. Kenny Ortega, Thora Birch, Vanessa Shaw, Omri Katz, Larry Bagby, Tobias Jelinek, and Jason Marsden, who was the voice behind the iconic cat, Thackeray Binks, were all set to come together at the Connecticut Convention Center in March 2026, marking what would be their first joint appearance in nearly 28 years. And honestly, whether you read it as pure nostalgia or a strategic tease before bigger Hocus Pocus 3 announcements, one thing is clear: the witchy magic is far from over. Okay, time to address the elephant in the room. What is Hocus Pocus 3 going to be about? Since the sequel hit screens, fans have been running wild with theories about what Hocus Pocus 3 might bring. One of the juiciest ideas focuses on the newly introduced Mother Witch, the mysterious figure who gifted the Sanderson sisters their spellbook when they were younger. She even appeared at the end of the second film in crow form, seemingly keeping an eye on Becca's new coven. Naturally, that's led fans to speculate she could become the big villain in the third movie, maybe going after Becca's coven as it rises to power while dragging the Sanderson sisters back into the chaos. Adding fuel to the fire, the IMDb listed plot states that Hocus Pocus 3 will center on Winnie trying to cast a reunion spell with Becca, but instead of bringing Mary and Sarah back, Winnie ends up in the afterlife, and whether the sisters will return remains a total mystery. But for what it's worth, there was indeed a black flame candle tucked away in Gilbert's shop. Alright guys, that's all for today. Hocus Pocus 3 is surely happening, maybe a little later than we expected. But we waited almost 30 years for a sequel, and what's a couple more years for another, huh? I guess the wait is now part of Hocus Pocus charm. Yeah, I was just trying to be composed. Give out the release schedule already! Anyway, please share your excitement in the comments below and tell me I'm not the only one who's biting his nails right now. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, because we'll be brewing a lot more on this topic.